Hey, John. Good to see
Hey,
you.
yeah, good to see you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Black Friday office hours.
Yeah,
Yeah. Where in the world are you?
I'm in just north of Indianapolis, so Carmel, Indiana.
Right now, I am just outside of Chicago, so we're much closer than we usually are.
Yeah, two and a half hours or so. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you're up to today. It's been a great week for us, I can tell you that, when it comes to pickaxe land. So
Well, hey, that's great to hear. I saw that there were some exchanges in the in the support thread. Hopefully, things have been resolved, or maybe we can jump on and work them out right now.
yeah, no, some good. We sold some studios,
Woo!
so that's great. But
Great to
what's
hear.
yeah, and I know open forum, but one city has decided to use the studio as their LLM package, right? So
That's
over
awesome.
400 employees, and then another organization is using the studio to teach leadership to over 400 companies, and over about 8,000 folks. So yeah, some really interesting use cases. By the way, this will be the fourth city that's selected the LLM Studio as their city's access for large language model, which I can tell you,
Wow.
I never saw that coming. I did not. And I even asked them, I was like, I was like, well, why? And their whole thing was that we have an agent that trains the memory. And then, they're like, well, we can use 5 or 6 large language models. We can use Gemini and Claude and we can use all those. And we only have to teach it our memory once. And I was like,
That makes a lot of sense.
it does make a lot of sense. And here's the other thing was we have to go to all the other guys and pay $20 or $30 a piece. And if we want 3 or 4 LLMs, you have to take that times 2 times 3. We have 400 employees, and reality is some of them, no matter what we do, will never use it, and some of them will use it all the time. And your approach is kind of based off interactions or whatever, so it's not a per user basis. So we did the math, and we were going to spend $400 a year for someone not to use it. Times 400, big number, right? And I was like, okay.
That is
Anyway,
a pretty big number.
all right.
Well, that's
Sorry,
great to
I
hear.
just was excited, but yeah, I'll let you get back to your thing here.
Well, for those of you that are just joining us, John is a huge success story with Pickaxe, and there's all different folks using Pickaxe in lots of different ways. But John, in particular, works with a couple different types of groups, but one group, municipalities, and just everybody wants to have AI tooling that's built for them and has all the things that they need, and have it also be kind of brought to them and packaged up in a way that makes sense to them. And so it's always really great to hear, John, what's going on in your world.
Good stuff.
Well, maybe I see some new faces here, and we're trying this. This is an earlier time than I think we usually do. So any questions or just any questions about the platform, any questions about how to do anything? I see Carlos, you've got your hand raised there.
Yes, I have a few clients that have a Shopify store, so I wanted to know if there is a way to make Pickaxe work inside the. Well, I know how to make a Pickaxe visible on any Shopify, but how to connect Pickaxe to, let's say, give information about products, prices, and even pictures of
Mm,
products, if that's possible.
yeah, well, let me show you some stuff that just became possible in the last week or so here. Some cool stuff. Um, let's just take a look. So if we go into a pickaxe, let me go over here. I just want to see if you've played around with this already, because we've just kind of made our action system a lot better, a lot cooler. And now if you go over here and we type Shopify, let's see what comes up. We've got Shopify Shops Finder, but I remember seeing Shopify in here, a direct Shopify one. There it is. This search, sometimes we're still working on it, but there is this Shopify MCP that you can connect. So I just wonder if you have tried to connect this. It could just be a couple of clicks. And my understanding is this should allow for basically two-way data access with the store. Another way to do it would be to just add the store and the associated pages to the knowledge base. And actually, recently what we've done is made it so that if you put any website in here, every 24 hours, it will check to see if there's been changes. So, if you have a store that's updating, that could actually work pretty well. Does that help or
Yes, I haven't seen the Shopify in the actions tab, so yeah, I will try that, and this other option I will try it also.
This one might be just a little faster to set up if you have the link to the store. And if you put in a website here, it will not only update the pages that it has every 24 hours, it will try to find new pages. And if it finds new pages, it will add those. So that could be a really helpful way to get an ongoing, changing store like that into an AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. I see a question in the chat here. Missed that you could put websites in the knowledge base. So yes, you can. But we have to be careful here, a little bit careful. If you just put a Google Drive link in, it might not play so nice the way we currently have it. But if you click Google Drive, we won't show everything that's in my Google Drive, but you can connect it to your Google Drive and it will work exactly the same way. You can connect files, you can connect sheets, and if they update, our system will update as well. And in fact, with Google, it doesn't even take 24 hours. It usually only takes an hour or so to see the update reflect.
I guess I'll just unmute. Follow-up question on that. Hey, Nathaniel.
Yeah. Hey, Doug. Good to see you. Happy Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. I mean, it's early for you. You're out in West Coast, right?
I'm in Chicago today, so it's not so early.
I was wondering. Anyway, so it's great. The team got the Notion connection working again. So what I'm kind of using that as like a micro rag, I guess, for like things that my company updates, like in weekly newsletters. I can just pop some info in there, and then my users have access to that and whatnot. But I'm wondering long term, if you feel like, just due to the nature of Google being Google and Notion being Notion, am I going to be more stable overall just using Google as like a micro rag like that? Do you recommend, or does it not matter?
You mean Google Drive? You mean
Google
like a Google
Drive? Yeah. So just maybe have, or even have it in a spreadsheet. Maybe I guess I could do something like that.
Well, I wouldn't say that there's really a difference of stability.
Okay.
I mean, they're both, good platforms, Notion and Google. For us, we think that, Google is just a little bit easier to kind of understand what's going on and organize everything.
Yeah.
But it's really up to you. But I wouldn't say that there's a difference in stability. You experienced that change. Admittedly, in the last 2 weeks or so, we have been making various changes to try to dial this in. A lot of this stuff that I'm showing, pretty much all the features that I just showed everybody in the last 10 minutes are new as of the last 30 days or so. So we're still dialing them in, but I've already seen people doing really amazing stuff with them. So
cool. Well, I apologize if you've already covered this, but I know last week on Office Hours, you were talking about a new way that, right now we can add another agent as an action, and then it'll, if you have the right trigger, it'll go to it. But I think you were saying something about how that's going to be more possible, like in the background, to have like more of a master chatbot and then access different specialized agents.
Yeah, so we've changed the way it looks a little bit. Now, if you go over to Actions and you click your pickaxes, you'll see, I see all my pickaxes. I've got wonderful Colonel St. George, and I've got the beautiful Pickaxe Doorman. And yeah, you can connect these all up and kind of have a master bot and have it ask questions of these subbots. I did mention, like last week, we changed the way that this works a little bit. And hopefully it should be working better for folks. We got rid of the limit. There used to be almost like a 3-layer limit to connections, where if you went beyond 3 layers, we would cut you off because we don't want it to loop forever. But we got rid of that because we're finding that with these new models, it's smart enough not to loop forever, and it can usually get some pretty useful answers out there.
Will be great. It's probably beyond the scope of something like a meeting like this, but maybe some training or demos of like best practices, even like, if you have like, like your main business robot, and then you have like content creator, and you have accounting, and then you have sales or whatever, like just the best way to set up that kind of a scenario to make them quick. Because I know when you do access another agent, it feels like it slows down a little bit. So I'm just, for somebody that's newer to LLMs and building, just knowing how much we can put into one, and is it better to just rely on a ginormous RAG, or is it better to like split them out like that? So I would love to see more instruction in that area. I mean, I meet with Ned a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, those are great questions. I think folks like Ned and other people who are on our experts program, which, by the way, folks can check out if they haven't seen that already here. These are folks that are vetted Pickaxe experts that we've worked with in the past, and that we know kind of have a certain level of understanding of what Pickaxe is all about, and just AI tooling in general. But Doug, maybe we could talk about that. We can circle back. I did have some demos prepared for these. We're doing 2-hour office hours blocks today. So if you're feeling tired or this one is too early for you, we're doing one 6 hours from now. And the intention with that is just for folks that are just coming on who are maybe new to the platform. Can be a little intimidating. Happy to just walk through and explain and try to help people be like, oh, okay. So Doug, to answer your question, it's a great question, and we should maybe come back and I can show some of our tools. Our thinking, though, I will say right off the bat, is if you want your bot to do one thing, you should leave it as one bot. If there are multiple discrete things you can think of for your bot to do that are really different from each other, you can split it into multiple bots, or if there are multiple discrete steps of a process. So for example, we spend a lot of time on our Pickaxe Doorman bot, that a lot of people use the Doorman every day. They talk to it, and it's just one tool. It's not connected to any other tools. It doesn't have any sub tools. In fact, it only has one action, and that action is the Pickaxe discourse that connects with our community forum, so that we can answer questions on the cutting edge of the community forum. So that's a little piece of advice there, if that makes sense. I saw that John had a question. Can we change this to say connect data instead of connect files? Well, that is probably a good idea, because now you can connect a lot more than just files. You can connect all kinds of different things. I wonder if data, maybe just connect knowledge, honestly, could be a good
That would work.
And a couple of the things that folks might be excited about with this that they may not have seen are, for one, the ability to do not just YouTube videos, but playlists and channels. This works really nice. Another thing that's in our Pickaxe Doorman is a playlist of all of these office hour sessions that we have. And so it can get all that information, everything that gets said, pretty easily. And then the ability to upload images as references as well is pretty new, actually. I don't even think we really made an announcement about it, but I've seen people using that in interesting ways. And then also, obviously, audio files and video files is cool. And then RSS feed. Some folks have websites on things like there's a couple of website builder platforms that basically automatically create an RSS feed for every change. And I think actually Shopify, Carlos, to your question, might be one of them. And so you can just subscribe to that RSS feed to make it even easier to make sure, boom, Pickaxe is going to get every change that you make and know what's going on with that. Awesome. Well, let's see here. Those were the questions we had in the chat. Any other questions? Aiden, good to see you. Any questions from new folks or existing folks? Happy Black Friday. Happy Black Friday. We're running a sale today for those of you that are new to the platform. There's a discount there. So should be able to go to the pricing page and check that out. And yeah, if there aren't any other questions, I can talk a little bit about updates and improvements we've made recently, and we can even get into some case studies, but feel free to stop me at any point with questions. The best place that I go, yes, well, let's do some case studies. First things first, though. SSO, John, SSO, it's high on the list now. We actually were supposed to roll out Microsoft integrations with OneNote and SharePoint yesterday. It's taken us a little longer to do it because of the Microsoft approval process, but we finally did get approved. Teams integration as well. And I know those aren't SSO, but those are, we can consider those to be steps along the pathway to SSO. Actually, we have an N8N connector. There's a pretty good post in the community forum about how to set it up. Let's see if I can pull it out here. Hold on a second. So there's actually several people who have made N8N setup guides now. We've got Ned, who's made a pretty comprehensive one. I'll just post here in the chat. One moment. Oh, let me share this tab. Boom. Boom. And we've also got this announcement here, which goes through maybe in a little bit more technical detail how to do it, how to set up the N8N connection. And maybe we can even demo some of those today. And then as far as SSO, for those of you that don't know, single sign-on, Pickaxe is moving into working with bigger and bigger clients, sometimes every week. It's surprising to me how much that's happening. And also folks that are consulting or coaching who may themselves even be small or medium-sized organizations increasingly are working with really large organizations anyway that require some sort of single sign-on. So we'll have SOC 2 by the middle of December. So should be no more than 2 weeks away. Excited for that if everything goes well. And SSO is high on our list to kind of just make it so that it's enterprise ready. Okay, we've got a couple questions in the chat here. Megan asked about the Black Friday code. I don't see it at checkout. Maybe affiliate listen, maybe I should. Yes, Megan, I apologize. Our system can sometimes be a little confusing. You should X out the affiliate code. You should add the Black Friday code, which you should have been emailed. And if you need it, I can send it in the chat, but just let me know. But you should X out the affiliate code just so that you can apply the other discount. Oh, awesome. Awesome, Megan. Stephanie says, is there a way to embed external sites in a studio using HTML? The answer is 100%, absolutely, yes. I'll show that really quick. And I might even do a sneak peek of the designs for what we want the studios to look like in the future. We're going to make them look a lot more handsome. Right now, I think, in my opinion, it's one of the worst parts of the product is just the fact that the studios could look a lot more, a lot less like a 1990s website and a lot more like a 2025 website. So hopefully also by the end of December, we'll have those changes in. But if you want to embed some other website into a studio, and this can be a little annoying, but this is what you do. So when you go into the studio editor, and just to do that again, you get to the studio editor by going here and clicking this edit button. Sometimes that throws people for a loop because if you click down here, it'll just bring you to the thing. You want to make sure you click this edit button right here. Then you get into the editor. Okay, great. These things here are content pages. This is a bot, of course. And with content pages, you will be, and you can do this with any content page. The landing page is a content page. This is a content page. You can just click on this little kebab and click on edit page, and it will pull open this menu on the right. And with this, you can add lots of different types of sections. You can add a special hero section, which is basically just like the picture and the button and all that. You can add Markdown, HTML, rich text. You can add a pickaxe embed. But what you would do, to answer your question, Stephanie, is you would add a HTML section like this one here. And I'll just add a new one to kind of show what that looks like. Boom, boom. And in this box here, you would put your embed code, and it should be able to run it, no problem. I'll put in just like some HTML just to show, hello. And when you click out of the box, the HTML renders nicely for you. So
are we
hopefully
able to
that answers your question.
Can we embed one of our pickaxes into that with the HTML?
Yes, you
So
absolutely
like
can.
People visiting our website, we could have like an info bot on there, basically.
Exactly. And here we actually do make that even a little bit easier for you. You can actually click the pickaxe embed option, and it will, or it should, let's see, maybe I was no embed selected, so we got to edit it. You can, see all your pickaxes. You can see all the embeds you've previously made. You can select from one of those. And if you embed a pickaxe in here, it will use the same rules as the studio where possible. So that can be really nice if you maybe wanted to, for example, we have a lot of folks who are building some kind of courses, and what they want to do is have a bunch of text or a bunch of images, maybe a couple videos, then a pickaxe, then maybe a bunch more text, a bunch, etc. So they can embed these pickaxes into the pages. We kind of override it and make it so that it follows the rules of the studio. Boom, boom, boom. You've got yourself a little course website. Maybe not the most handsome course website in the world, but a perfectly functional and a course website that allows you to have all the benefits of the memory and the usage limiting and control that Pickaxe allows. There's actually a bunch more questions in the chat, so let me just go in here. I'm about to offer pickaxes to some of my students, and I will pay the golden, probably the gold plan. Where can I get the most info about exploiting this resource? Well, that's a good question, and maybe this is a good opportunity to, one moment, refer you to the resource directory. This is a page that we've made. I just put it in the chat that has a collection of all the resources I could think of that we have. So it's got, the community forums, obviously a great resource, but it's also got the office hours calendar, the blog, and for your specific question, the pricing page might be a really good place to go and see, hey, what are all the different things I can do with gold? Really, if you're on free and you're going to gold, actually, we've made free a lot better. So, feel free to stay on free and grow your business. You can do a lot more with free than you ever could before on Pickaxe. But the big difference with gold is being able to white label, so you don't have our branding all over the place. Being able to connect more actions, being able to add collaborators, custom domains, so basically, whenever you're ready to kind of graduate into not letting us be branding everything all the time, gold is a really great option. Yeah. Let's see here.
If I may say something here,
Yeah.
it's Moises. I wanted to
Hello.
go into the, hey, my friends, let me show my video. I was in class, that's why I was just like this. I wanted to, thanks for the answers, definitely, Nathaniel. I wanted to go to the gold plan because I want to start charging for, like monetizing the service. And I guess the only way is by doing that. Is that right?
So that's not actually quite right, but I can totally understand. It can be a bit confusing. You don't actually have to pay for gold in order to monetize. You can set up Stripe on the free plan. However, if you're on the free plan and you monetize through us, we take a 25% cut of that monetization. Whereas if you're on the gold plan and you monetize through us, we only take a 10% cut. So it's a pretty big difference, but our thinking is, when you're getting started, maybe it doesn't matter so much the 25% cut. You can just kind of work out the business and then you can upgrade when you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, consider that.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. We're trying to make it easier for people to start, for free and get involved with the platform, and then of course, lots of folks can upgrade at different times. Let's see. Yes, we got the community. Okay. Okay. So, Stephanie, you're saying that that's exactly what you tried to do, but well, I can account for some types of embeds that might be not compatible with any site. Like, for example, maybe Notion just doesn't like to embed. If you have a different site that you've been able to embed Notion inside of, we can take a look at the way that they do that, Stephanie, and we can try to figure it out. But what you posted here in the chat, getlocalproof.notion.site, makes me think Notion probably has something in there that's trying to stop it from being put within other websites, maybe, which would kind of make it difficult for us. Yeah, let's see here. I see, okay, cool. Yes, Stephanie, email us at info@pickaxe.co. Great. We will respond to the emails, particularly today, day of big sale. For anybody that's having problems, that's a great place to email. John asked, I see where you can invite someone to your studio, and I have been invited to studios. What I can't do is leave. Yes. This is a good point. I'm not sure. I think that you can be removed, but I don't know if you can voluntarily raise your hand and leave.
Yeah, you can be removed. The issue is if you are providing services to that company and that services has ended, you're still connected to their studio, and I feel like you have there's a risk that you can still access their studio even though your service agreement with them is done. And I kind of want to go, and we're out of here. Right? We don't do that.
And goodbye.
Yeah, and if they won't
Absolutely.
reply back to you, you can't get out, right? You're kind of stuck. So
Well, that's a really fair point, and I've just written that down, so we can hopefully take a look at that. And for those of you that don't know or haven't, kind of done anything like this before, let me just briefly show some cool stuff with that. So, man, we got too much going on here. So we've got studios in Pickaxe, and these are like kind of like workspaces. In fact, between you and me, we're going to probably call them workspaces soon. Get a little bit clearer what's going on. They're kind of like folders, and within each folder, you can have a bunch of different people invited. So this one, you can see I've got these folks on it. This one has, they all have different people on them. And a lot of our customers will build one of these. They will invite people from the organization that they're working with to come in. They'll maybe show them the ropes, help them figure out what's going on. And then maybe at the end of engagement, what they might want to do is transfer one of these tools to one of these folks. So you can do that here in the collaborate and transfer menu. You can first of all invite collaborators to come in and participate. And then in this case, I can't transfer this one because I'm not the owner of it. But if I go to one that I am the owner of, that I did build, like this one, I could come in here and I can actually transfer it to one of these other folks, which is basically a handoff process, to a client. What John is talking about is, hey, we forgot to, after you've handed it off, you're still in there. You're just no longer the owner. And you remove yourself. And I think maybe we haven't quite gotten around to that yet. We just assumed the client would remove you. But as John is saying, sometimes they just forget to do that. So, John, it's a great question. It's a great point. Let's see here. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I was just talking briefly about some of the new things we've just recently put out. For one thing, there's a whole heap of new models. There's Grok 4.1. Claude now has 1 million token context window. So, I haven't tested it out, but we'll see if, filling that up, how well it works there. And Opus 4.5 is pretty huge. And Gemini 3 Pro, which Google actually a few days ago had so much demand on that it stopped working for an hour. And for everybody that I could see who was using the API across, not just Pickaxe, but the whole, they were really, people are loving it so much that they have too much demand for it. It's really cool to use all these new models here. And one new thing that we've just recently added is it used to be that only some models supported image upload, and the ones that didn't just can't upload an image. We've now made it so that all models just support image upload magically. If the model itself doesn't support image upload, we go and we process the image and we just make it work. So that's kind of a neat addition if you're just kind of struggling to upload images there. And maybe another one people might not have seen, which is a small improvement, is just the pinning. Actually, it was one of these things that I said, it's not that important. We've got other stuff to worry about. But now that I have these pinned, I completely understand how important it was. And I will never go back to a pre-pinning world where you can kind of pin your studios if you've got a lot to see what's going on. Okay. So we've got a couple of existing folks and a couple of new folks here. Maybe we can go through a little example. But for new folks, feel free to jump in with questions. But let me just give you a high-level overview of what we're talking about, because this might have seemed like we're in deep. So Pickaxe is a platform that lets you build AI tools and control who gets to use them, basically. The place to start building an AI tool could be right here. I want to build let's see, what should we build? Maybe we'll build a municipal code interpreter. I was talking with somebody about this last night. Now, if you're completely new, you won't even see the screen, so don't even worry about it. But for the existing users, we're just going to pick which studio we want to put this in, because everything has to go into a folder. And if you're completely new, you'll be dropped out here. And this bot will basically start to help you build your tool. And we are trying to make this process as good as we possibly can here, but we've got kind of the bones. Now, this is a 3-panel experience, and hopefully it's not going to be too overwhelming, but you can go between the AI helper, the editor, and the preview. And if we click over to the preview or to the editor here, we can see that it's added this role for us. This is a great beginning. And we can see a lot of controls, buttons and dials, and there's all these tabs. But in this case, we've got the municipal code interpreter. But I say I want this to be for Chicago, because that's where I am now. And with any luck, and actually you can see it already had given us the suggestion, we should be adding some municipal code documents. That's probably a good suggestion to go next. So now it's going to go ahead and tailor the prompt for us a bit and help to adjust it. But the big next step we're going to want to do is probably add some municipal code documents. So here it's just going through and replacing the words with Chicago. So we can approve those changes. Help me add documents about the codes. So you can see now that we've gone from prompt to knowledge. And it's suggesting that we connect some files over here. And you'll be able to connect all kinds of different files you want. So what if I just Google Chicago municipal code? Okay, wow. This looks long. Let's see here. I can download as a PDF all this stuff. Why don't we go through a couple of the titles here? There's a lot of municipal code that Chicago has. We're just looking over here at this. And we could just put in the link to this website. But this website maybe has a lot of other stuff on it. So instead we can just download a file. Though maybe if we want to make sure that the municipal code keeps updating, we can just go ahead and add this website. Let's give that a try, see what happens. So what this tool is doing now is it's just going and scraping and trying to find the information from this website. Okay, so it looks like we've got something. Maybe we can start with this. And we can test this tool that we've made and see how well it can answer various different questions. this will run a little test for us. Now, we've only been working on this for a couple of minutes. So, you know, it's pulling this information, but we would have to make sure this is right. And another thing we can do is, instead of just adding knowledge in that knowledge area that I showed you, we can also go over to this actions area, and we can allow our tool to do some stuff. Maybe we want it to be able to search Google. Let's add that. Maybe we want it to be able to, you know, maybe for this municipal code one, we don't need it to know what's going on in the financial world, but maybe we want it to be able to generate PDFs so that folks can get output in the form of PDF if they want to download from our tool. So now we've added knowledge, we've adjusted the prompt, we've got some great actions in here. But this is only really the first tiny piece of what Pickaxe is all about. Wants us to add a profile image. Let's see. I should be doing that automatically. Let's see here. So we've got a profile image now. Once we've got this tool, with Pickaxe, we can now put this anywhere we might want to use it. So maybe that means we're going to put it into a website, in which case we want to make an embed, and we want, you know, we can stick this onto a homepage of our website. We can make it a floating action button that appears in the little bottom corner. That's a great one. Even make it a little chat box that once people start, you know, talking to it, it pops open. Lots of different great options with the embeds. And then also, we can even make it into an email deployment, and it will just generate an email for us that people can interact with back and forth to learn about Chicago municipal codes. Coming very soon to you guys, and we can deploy it to Slack and use it within our workspace. We can deploy it to WhatsApp. This is only available on either Gold or Pro, where we will actually get a phone number that if we're on WhatsApp, we can just text back and forth and even upload files and exchange files about Chicago municipal code. And finally, we can put it into a studio-like environment. And these studio-like environments, I'm always showing off my wonderful Murder Mystery Manor, basically just a little website, maybe even better to call it a portal. And you can put all your bots in this portal, and when your user logs into this portal, you can assign them a limited number of credits. You can have them upgrade in order to get more credits, more uses. And they can see, you know, all their usage history. It's basically just your own ChatGPT that you can kind of compartmentalize and put out there. So it's a super powerful product if you're building AI tooling and you want to distribute it to people in a way that's, you know, made an integrated part of your business. I see, Jeanette, you've got your hand raised.
You caught me taking a bite of my breakfast.
All right.
So sorry. Pardon me.
Well,
I do, but I don't want to interrupt. Like, this is such good, like, just giving people the overview is so good. I'm going to go really techy real quick. I promise to keep it short. I just think I'm miscommunicating with your team about what's happening. And so I just thought if I jumped on real quick, I could share with you and we could probably straighten it up. I just think in text, it's harder.
Totally. Yeah. Well,
so, for
hopefully
anybody brand new here, Nathaniel's amazing, and he
overview.
always knows exactly what's going on, so you can jump on and get detailed answers. If I could be a plug for you and Pickaxe. But what's happening, remember last time we talked about my two clients, like it was like clashing. So what we did is we went into my client's account and removed me from having access. But when I go in my studio, Nathaniel, something is not working because I still have access and I can still edit and change everything in there. But if I go to my client's account, it's not showing me there. So they told me, well, go ahead and separate them and then it should fix the problem. And I get that, but I can't figure out how. It feels like it might be a small glitch somewhere and it might fix the whole problem. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. So
Okay.
let me just get a pen here. Let's see. Gotta write some of this down.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
let's see here. So you removed yourself, or
Like
you
from
removed
their
yourself
side,
from their account. And
from
then
their,
when you
like
log
I
into your
logged in
account,
as them
I
to
see.
remove my, to remove access of
Yes.
Jeanette at JeanetteStein.com.
Yes.
But
Okay.
then when I logged out and logged back into
Yeah.
mine and even refreshed the browser and, all the test things,
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
had full access to their studio from my account.
Mm, that's not good.
But when I
I
looked
bet
at
what
it,
happened is it has to do with the fact that it is just you're logging into both. Obviously, it shouldn't work that way, but
Mhm,
you've got all the passwords.
right, I get that, yeah.
Can you help me? And so, for those of you that don't know, Jeanette is certainly a power user of Pickaxe, and we're working with Jeanette. Jeanette has a bunch of clients that she's helping to build AI tools, and Jeanette's using this handoff ability. Certainly a lot in the top 10% certainly of users, and but we're running into issues with um, overlap because people are going from being users of AI tools to being, Jeanette's teaching them how to be builders and teaching them how to use Pickaxe and all this amazing stuff. And there seem to be some interesting account problems. Jeanette, if you can just remind me, the original issue that kicked this off was uh, there's a memory problem,
That's right.
and the memory problem is that. Uh, Remind me exactly what the memory problem is.
Yeah, so like the memory just in that one account just seems to not be holding, right?
Okay.
Like we put one of the memories, and we use this a lot, so we know I'm 99% confident that's not screwed up. So we put in, collect their name, email, and then we'll go later and be like, what's my name? And it has no idea. Like it's not
Interesting.
holding,
And when you go, so for those of you that have not used this before, a really powerful part of Pickaxe is that in ChatGPT, it decides what it remembers about you, which is good. But in Pickaxe, you can decide what you want it to remember about folks. So if I go into my murder mystery manor and I go over to users, I can go over to user memory, and I've got a couple things that I want to remember: the user's name and who the user thinks done it in this little who done it caper we've got going on here. And as people kind of come in and use the tool, the bots are figuring out, okay, this person thinks that the butler did it. This person thinks that the maid did it. This person thinks that the colonel did it. It is funny to me that I did not pre-prepare this. This is just 3 people that think 3 different people did it. So it's good. We've got a good mystery on our hands. And so, Jeanette, my question for you is, when you come in here, or when you go over to maybe manage users, and we look for that user, and we click, and we go over to their user memories, what do we see? Is it just emptied out?
let me see. Okay, so do you want me to do this from my account or from her account?
From your account.
Right now I'm
first.
logged into mine.
Yes, that's a good place to start.
Okay, so I'm going to, do you want me to share my screen? I'm on one screen because I'm at my folks real quick, so.
Just let me know if you see anything over here, and then whether you do or not, we can have you share your screen.
Okay, let's see, users.
Meantime, is anybody here traveling for the holiday? If some people aren't even in the States, but in the US, this is one of the holidays of the year. Thanksgiving happens yesterday, and today is kind of a follow-on to that. I learned that in Canada, they do this in October, if you can believe that.
Come here. Sit. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing their name. I'm seeing like partials. I'm seeing like the
Interesting.
progress. I'm seeing like the main goal is like this client helps people with, like, decide on in-home care, residential care. And,
Does that sound right? Those
and
things?
then it's got oh, it does have a name and a email. Yeah, it's only got one. It's missing my test account. Like, my stuff's not in here. This is only John's test stuff.
Okay.
My stuff's not even showing in the conversations down below. Like,
Okay.
so that
Interesting.
seems odd. And it's
Okay.
only pulling from the memory. Oh, this is interesting. So John set up like a memory tester, like just
Okay.
to play. And we do that in all the accounts just to make sure everything's working right. And
Yeah.
then it's mostly pulling only from the tester, not from any of the pickaxes we're actually using, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
I could see how a tester might basically like distract it almost
Yeah.
uh,
That's what it
from
seems
what's
like.
going on.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, that could be a potential piece of a problem.
Okay. So
But
we do
it
that
sounds.
in other accounts too. I've lost your screen. There you are.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, sorry. One screen. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying here that that's the whole solution. There could still be other stuff going on, but maybe that's a piece of the problem. But
Okay.
what this tells me is, so what Jeanette's doing is she's going in and she's looking and she's finding, hey, I set up this cool studio. That's great. I've got
Mhm.
user memory in there. That's great. And when I go and look at, you know, uh, Jack's profile, Jack's information is at least, so the bots are learning all this cool information about Jack. And it
Mhm.
seems like that information is right. However, what we're having problems with is it doesn't seem to be using that information when we want it to. So what I'm suggesting to Jeanette is one issue is potentially there's this memory tester, and it's kind of distracting from the information we want to look at. But there could also definitely still be some issues with accounts and stuff to figure out there.
Yeah, I was wondering, could you manually remove me from that on the back end just so we can test and see if that's because it seems like that might be
Yeah,
the issue.
let's think about that for a second. We're talking about a studio where you are currently a collaborator and it's still showing for you. We need to make sure that you can't see that anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, like when I was talking to your support, they were saying if we
Yeah.
completely separate those two accounts, they believe it will resolve the issue. But I can't figure out how to separate, like get myself
Well,
off.
it's interesting. We were just having this conversation with John, actually. It's so funny how John was like, hey, I want to be able to remove myself from somebody's studio after I've handed it off. This is exactly the right, probably a very related problem here.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's take a look. So, one moment here.
Nice. I love the
Let's
thumbs
see.
up, John. And for those of you, like, if you're brand new to Pickaxe, like, this is not normal. Like, I do this, I probably have 20 studios. I just don't want to come on and give you bad press. This isn't like the normal situation.
I found you here, and
Okay.
let me just actually, here's what would be really helpful. If you put the exact name of the studio you want to be removed from into the chat,
Absolutely.
I can do it for you.
Perfect. And then we'll test that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And in the meantime, here in the chat, we've got some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to.
John is spicing up in there.
Okay.
John is saying he also has an issue with the user memory not showing.
Mm-hmm.
Aha. Well, John, let me just answer your question really quick because it is important. Maybe this is not so well explained. One moment. So, John is saying, hey, I I use user memory, which is a super powerful Pickaxe feature, by the way. And it, it collects it and it uses it in the chats, but my users don't see it.
And it is set for display.
Okay. Well, that was going to be my first thing. Is we go in here,
I knew
just
you
for
were
those of you
going
that
there.
don't know, and we go and we say, hey, we want to collect, use, and display. Now let me go in to my.
Oh, hang on, Nathaniel, pull that back up again.
Okay, one moment. Let's see here. Should be here.
Yeah, click on that for a second. The second one there. So maybe just because I'm old, but it would be nice to be more clear to know which one of those is selected. I did spend about 20 minutes trying to figure out how to select the last one.
Just because it's slightly grayer.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's grayed out. That means that it's not available, but that's the one I want. Right? And then
That's
I
a fair visual point there.
I open a ticket. They're like, well, it already selected. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
We need a checkbox there.
But what I was trying to do was, it was not showing it for the user, and so I was trying to select that, and I was like, oh, it's grayed out. But it was selected, but it wasn't showing it to the user.
Well, let me just show on mine for at least how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Your user would go to their little user page. They go to account settings, and it would show your memories here. Now, I will say, John, this will only appear if the user has a memory that you can see. But it sounds like what you're saying is you see the memory, it's set to that, they don't see it. That sounds like a problem we should.
I can see it in the studio log that it's happening, right? I can watch the user go in. I can see it add to the memory. So I see it in the studio side, but then I have the user online, and I'm like, go here, take a look at that, and it's not there. And I thought, well, maybe there's a little bit of delay, right? Maybe it's not instant. But I'm kind of like, well, it's showing in the studio. It should be showing for the user kind of right away. So it might be an issue there.
It's confusing, but it makes sense what you're saying, and it sounds like you've got it all set up right. And it's a good opportunity to show the other people who are on the cool powers of the user memory and just the ability to let your users see it. But it's unfortunate that, so I think for that, John, that's going to have to be an email to support, probably, because
it is very powerful, and and it's really good to give them the ability to change it and where to go.
And this is admittedly a little hidden right now, but in the new designs, hopefully by the end of the month, this will be much easier to get to, this memories area, and they'll be able to change it, just find it a little bit more easily, because people don't maybe know to click in this corner to get there.
Yeah. Also, removing their history has come up a lot. Sometimes they type stuff in there they don't want anybody to know, and they want to be able to go in there and clear it out. And I'm kind of like, well, we don't have incognito mode like some, but you can go here and get rid of it.
They can absolutely delete it, but maybe incognito mode, is a good idea.
Just a little button. That's how most of them use, right? Little dash circle or something.
Yeah. Instead of starting with the delete. Yeah.
Yeah, I would second that. I just had people say, I don't know if I want to use Pickaxe because I can see all their answers. They felt like that was like not in, and I'm like, I showed her how to turn it off and how to communicate that, but that was a reason she didn't want to build.
Oh,
just so you know, Nathaniel, that I just had that conversation Wednesday.
Well, we do workshops, and we're teaching them something, and then we're going into the back end to observe their utilization of the agent, just to reinforce the teaching. So from an intent standpoint, that's what we're doing. Well, as soon as they found out that we had the ability to go back and look at that, right? So we're like, whoa. And
I learned real quick. I have a SAS, so never mention to subscribers. You don't want the word to get out that you can see their conversations, but it's extremely useful to determine how to keep developing,
And you can turn it off, right? But you turn off everything.
Well, what comes to mind that seems obvious to me now is you can turn it off so that you can't see their responses.
Right.
But they can't see that you did that. There's no indication to them.
There's no proof.
If you have it turned off, we should definitely show a little icon here. And then when they hover over it, it just says, you know, your responses are being deleted immediately. You know, they're not, you know,
Nathaniel, there's
that's,
that little thing that ChatGPT does at the bottom, because I have a business account and it says it's not learning on your, that kind of
yeah.
thing. It's really reassuring when when I share my screen and they're like, oh, when you put my stuff in, it's not being absorbed by the learning,
By the
yeah,
Borg of what's
right.
happening
Yeah.
here.
They all use a different word for it, but it means the same thing.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah. Well, now we got this thread sitting there. It would be nice on the back end to be able to bring a user, to invite a user in, and all they can do is add or remove users. And then whether or not they can see the user's history would be a nice, because what happens is we end up managing the studio and then they end up wanting to add people in. And then we're like in the middle of adding and dropping people from the studio.
Yeah,
And
you're kind of like, you're basically the babysitter of the people in there, but you don't necessarily want them to see all the, goings on. We do have one delineation, and I'll just show this to everybody in case people don't know. So if you're doing a studio, you can actually invite people as either a member or a viewer. But as John is saying, we need more breakdown of this. Currently a member can basically do anything, almost, a couple exceptions, and a viewer can see anything. They can invite people, but they cannot edit a pickaxe. But they can still see all the responses. What John is saying is
the viewer can invite people.
the viewer can invite people. We probably need a better name for it. But different from what you're saying, John, the viewer can also see all the interactions. The only thing the viewer cannot do is edit a pickaxe. None of that. But maybe we need an additional level that says, hey, you cannot see the interactions, you cannot edit the pickaxe, but you can invite or remove people and manage people. The people manager.
People manager,
Jeanette.
that's it. That's the one.
I wrote down people manager here. Jeanette, let me check the chat here and see if you
Yeah,
did.
it's Ariana J is the name of the studio.
Okay, one moment. Let's see.
And then I have to run off for some Black Friday shopping.
Well, as a reminder to everybody here, we've got some Black Friday deals for those that are not already paying subscribers of Pickaxe. Should have got an email, and we'll send some more emails out soon. Let me just see if I can. Okay, here's this. Let's look in here. Let's look here. Okay. All right. I am going to delete you from this.
Okay.
Jeanette.
Yep.
Boom,
perfect. And we'll
boom.
test it and let you know.
Okay. It has happened.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
We were
Jeanette.
just going back and forth, so I appreciate all your help.
Absolutely.
Hi, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend.
Doug, I saw you had a question here. When users upload a document, it can become part of their RAG if the setting is on. So over time, will their experience become slow? So this is a great question. So we're hoping that putting a lot of documents in there isn't slowing it down. It can slow it down a little bit. We're trying to make it so that that's less of a problem and just keep it going really fast. And another thing, Doug, that you may or may not know is that if you go to the same account settings area, here you see it says your products and your memories. If I had documents that were uploaded studio-wide, like you're talking about, they actually would show up here.
Yeah.
And the users can delete them. But what you're really asking is, should we tell people to do that as part of like a hygiene for their studio? Is that right, Doug?
Yeah, I'm using it. I'm telling users, if they put like, how they write, like writing examples and such, like loading that as a reference, almost like they're adding to their own RAG. And I'm assuming that that's going to, if I'm in the prompt, system prompt, I'm telling it to refer to the RAG for like how they write. I'm just wondering if they also are uploading a bunch of spreadsheets to analyze, or I don't know, whatever. If that's going to get if it's going to get tough for it to find that.
Well, I'll tell you what we suggest. So Megan asked a great question. What is
Yeah.
RAG? That's the type of questions I really want to be answering here
Yeah.
on this office hour. So let me just take a step back.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you've got these tools, which are cool, these AI agents, and you want to do a lot of different stuff with them. One of the things you want to do is add documents. And, you can add all kinds of different documents. People use the word RAG to talk about the technology. It's retrieval augmented generation. But really, all it's about is just ways to get the AI to pay attention to really large documents that maybe you don't want it to read all of Ulysses every time it's answering a question about Ulysses. Maybe you just want it to be able to pull the important bits. That's all that RAG is when people talk about it. And Doug, to your question, and for everybody, with Pickaxe, you can do this cool thing I haven't seen anywhere else, where you can allow users to upload files to this conversation. That's pretty common, you know, or you could set this bot to make it so that any file they upload basically like becomes a piece of that user's knowledge base. Wherever they go, if they talk to some other tools, if they leave and come back in a month, that document will be in there for them. That's super nice because you're like building a picture, you're making it feel like it's a space for them. You're really creating. But Doug, you're right. Let's say I'm using the same bot and it uploads the basic profile stuff that we want to keep. And then later they're just using that bot for like day-to-day business thing and they upload a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet then can kind of become confusingly enmeshed in everything else. What we usually tell folks is you should have one bot that's like the intro bot, you know, and then you should have a different bot that's like the, you know, stats bot. And that other bot would be set to this thread only. And that should fix the problem. One thing that we will be launching by the end of the year, like if I have my way, is instead of having to do this whole intro bot thing, which can be good, also sometimes can be a little annoying. When users sign up for your studio, we're going to have a little profile card that they can fill out. And so, you know, that might be also interesting because that stuff will all go into the memory. And I think it'll just be pretty nice to have. Okay, let's see here. Yes, the profile card is something I'm super excited about, and you know, well, I'm excited to see what people do with it. Any questions? We've got a couple of new joiners. Hello, Ash, welcome. And anybody want to ask any questions? We're just kind of going through talking about what the heck's going on with Pickaxe and how to do various different things. For those of you that are just joining, we have like a sale going today and I think until noon tomorrow or something. So make sure to jump on that. Or, you know, just get your hands dirty with the product. Are there tutorials for basic setup? Well, that's a great question, Megan. That's a great question. There's almost too many different resources. I'm sending the resource directory here, which has a lot of different bits and pieces. The Pickaxe walkthrough playlist is good. And I would say in particular, let me find the right video here. One moment. There's so much stuff in here. I would say, one moment. This Pickaxe product tour is probably the best like early intro here, and I'll just paste that to the chat. And I will also say that there are some courses that folks have, and those are available here at the experts area. We've got the AI Minimalist, Pickaxe Prospectors Academy. And we're of course always here to help as well. Hopefully that's a good start. Yeah, let's see here. Any other questions, comments, concerns? John wants to see where design is going. Well, I'm almost a little afraid to share this, but we've been working pretty hard on the vision that we have. And let me see. I'll just give a little preview, a little sneak peek here. Essentially, all the website stuff that we provide is going to get packed into these little menus, and you'll still have your left nav bar, and you'll still have your all of the pricing and the memory control and the document control. But instead of going to different pages, they'll just kind of be hover over states. And the really nice thing about that is we're going to try to give you guys complete control over these pages. You can put anything you want on them. You can make them look however you want to look. And we'll just hold fast to the kind of basic components and make sure that these basic components keep working. So that, folks can still, mess with their account, mess with the plans, change the memory, all this stuff. But it will all kind of exist as an overlay to what's going on, so that we won't have kind of these ugly pages that we're transitioning to that, we don't have full customization over. And as far as the forums, I think maybe there's going to be the ability to add some questions for folks right as they're signing up, so that they can kind of get started with information. So we're super excited, to put this out there and really make the websites look more like they're from 2025, Yes, and the ability to put checkboxes there so that you can do terms of service. Awesome. Yeah. John, you're asking, can we customize the user setup page or the setup email? So actually, email customization is hopefully coming in the next week or so. So that's even sooner. As far as setup page, I'm not 100% sure I understand what you mean.
So there's that when they get invited in with a magic link, and there's a kind of a pop-up or whatever you want to call it that shows up there, and in there is some content. It's the ability to change that content in there, because it's kind of very generic. And sometimes
Yeah,
I'm inviting you to this specific studio, or I'm inviting you to this specific plan, and it's just the ability to manipulate some of that because it's kind of generic. And sometimes it shows up in email, but sometimes it's in that pop-up. And so some of our clients are like, well, we want our logo there, or we want to say this. And sometimes they want them to accept their terms of service, and, like have that little button where you can see it and we accept my terms of service. It's that little, you're coming in type of thing. So
totally makes sense. So our goal is going to be to make it so that we are not going to have a single page that you cannot control. And there might be a little overlay menu that's like welcome, that you'll be able to control the text over, but they won't be on like a different page like we have now. It'll almost just be like a little pop over menu to the page you've already got. And so that's a good way to just, let you be able to basically hopefully do whatever you want with the underlying page. And actually, I'm just looking right now to see whether we did one thing that I'm curious about. One moment, guys. One moment. Okay. I'm just looking for the ticket for the email customization, because I think, yeah, make it possible to customize emails from Studio. Yeah, this is coming closer here. Let me actually just do this. Okay. Oh, I see some people have dropped some examples. Thank you guys for doing that in the chat before I even had a chance to take a look. And let's see if I can find a couple more here. There's so many amazing. So I'll just, at a very high level, let me just talk through 4 really cool things I've seen just in the last month, people doing with Pickaxe. 4 really successful customers. One of them is a tutoring agency in Brazil, and they have literally hundreds of thousands of students. They have they're using our subscription system just as you would expect it to be used. They work with K through 12 students, and you know, they've got hundreds of thousands of students using the platform, a bunch that are paying, hundreds that are paying, may even be at this point thousands that are paying, and then a bunch that are on kind of free access. And it is just so cool to see that giant, you know, user base. They're usually the first to let us know, you know, when they like a feature that we've just put out, just because they're working on it so actively. That is probably the studio that has the most use. I think it has more than 1 million total uses, and has experienced, I'm just looking now, more than 300,000 users have gone through it. So really cool, looking what they're up to. Another example that's kind of a one-to-many is this studio that very, you know, we're going from Brazil to New York. These guys are based in New York City, and they help people get jobs in finance. And so if you want to get a job at Morgan Stanley, or you want to get a job at Bear Stearns or whatever, this bot costs 14 bucks a month and helps you to do that. And we've seen them having big success. They are making, they've made, you know, tens of thousands of dollars through Pickaxe, through those subscriptions. And you know, it's just basically helping people to get jobs, you know, in finance. Those are 2 examples of what we call coaching use cases, and it's like a one-to-many business model. And I'll give 2 examples of what we might call consulting use case. I think John, who's been helping me out here in the soft hours, falls more into this category. But this is this burgeoning group of people, and we're seeing more and more of these folks every day. This is huge, who are going out and they're saying, I'm an AI consultant. Maybe in the past I was just a consultant. Now I'm an AI consultant. Or, you know, I mean, you know, we're based in San Francisco. You see so many people saying, okay, well, everybody's going to add AI to their business or to what they're doing. Some people are going to do it themselves and do it in-house. But you and I, we all know a lot of people are going to want to bring on an external person who can kind of help shepherd this in. And so this other group of customers are folks like that. And one that we always like to talk about is the Electrical Workers Union in Norway. Uses Pickaxe within their basically a consultant has gone in and said, hey, use these tools to assess whether things are up to code and how the codes are changing. And so they load the electrical worker or the electrical codes into these tools and make sure that they're up to date. And it's just a huge application to see people using these tools. Another really cool one is in the human resources department of a Fortune 500 petroleum company in the United States here. A consultant went in and helped them with their human resources policies, and left them with these really awesome AI tools that they use every day to help with making sure that they're compliant with, you know, the HR policies and the laws that they need to be compliant with. So those are 2 kind of more consulting examples of going and kind of building tools and handing them off into these really big organizations so that they can become AI forward organizations. So it's super, super exciting to see. Well, we're going to be doing this for probably about another half an hour here. And so I just want to pause from talking through some of these examples and say, if anybody has any questions, anything with the product, happy to. We're doing the sale. We're doing a Black Friday sale. So you should have hopefully gotten an email about that. And if not, we're going to send out some more. And you know what? Just for fun, I will tell you, we have added a feature just last night. I added it late last night in response to some of our sale emails. We've just made it so that instead of just unsubscribing from all the emails we send or not, you can now go and unsubscribe from specific types of emails, which actually doesn't seem like a big deal, but we had this customer who wrote us and he was like, I don't want to get these sale emails because I'm already, using the product a lot and all this, but I don't want to unsubscribe because I want to get all the updates because you guys are updating it so much. I want to know everything that's going on. And it was a very confusing email, but I really enjoyed reading it. And I was like, you know what? We should make it easier for this guy. Any questions about Pickaxe, what we do, what
Hey,
we stand
Nathaniel,
for?
I got to hop off. What time is the next one today? Is it 4
And
Eastern?
the next one today is, let's see here. It is at 1:30 Pacific.
Okay, cool.
So that would be 4:30 Eastern.
Well, I got to hop off, but I just want to say to anybody that's checking this out today, this meeting was very representative of like my customer experience. They're developing things so quickly. They're so responsive. It's just awesome, and it's kind of fun to be along on the journey. I don't really know much about Nathaniel, but it seems like they're a bunch of young guys creating a company, and it's been a great experience. So I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I've only had my SaaS launched for about 2 months, and I'm, it's just a little side fun thing for me, just playing around, and I'm making like $1,400 a month so far, and I mean, it's just barely launched, and so I'm excited for what's to come. But thanks again.
Thank you, Doug. Ash, you asked a great question. So we have these are twice a week we do these. And today is a little bit of an odd day, but let me send you here's the calendar. We do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, typically. But we moved it to Friday today, and we're doing a little extra because of the sale and because of the holiday as well. Well, this is blocked for 2-hour office hours, and I'm happy to keep going through and answering questions if any folks have questions. But also, if we're out of questions, we can always cut it short, and we will be on again in about 4 hours. So if you develop questions trying out the product along the way, we can maybe even address them there. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys all for coming on, and look forward to seeing you, some of you maybe at the next one, but if not, just on the platform using the tool. Thanks for coming, guys. Bye-bye.